Evening, everyone. Welcome back to the 25-26 school year, first curriculum meeting, September. We're off to a great start. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time tonight. I have a room full with all of our supervisors, administrative staff, and my board members here. We have a packed agenda, so I am going to kick it off with the first item that we'll be discussing tonight, which is the MTSS behavioral update that Dr. Sinaski is going to take over from me. Thank you.
I'm going to ask off the middle school because they started with it. We're going to work with them.
Thank you. So approximately 2 years ago, we were afforded the opportunity to take part in the Rutgers Comprehensive Mental Health Grant. This allowed us to have a team of roughly 8 staff members get trained in implementing a measure to assess students' social and emotional well-being. Much like our MTSS system supports for academics, and which is a multi-tiered system of support, that identifies students in need of differing levels of support in the classroom. This program is the same, but focuses on the social and emotional needs of the students. As we know, middle school speaks to the whole child, social, emotional, and academic. The results of this work with the students will guide us in providing specific reports to ensure the social and emotional health. Mr. Laurie, I had asked when this came out to take the lead in it, so I will pass it to him to do the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dr. William and committee members. I appreciate you taking the time. If you look in the left-hand side of your packet, I have the actual presentation off of. And so we're going to start off with what is the MTSS behavioral assessment. Over the past 3 years, the Monroe Township School District has been working diligently on multi-tier systems of support, or MTSS, to provide students with targeted academic interventions based on their identified needs. Approximately 2 years ago, we were given the opportunity, as Dr. Higgins said, to participate in the Rutgers Comprehensive School Mental Health Grant, which complements the academic MTSS process. And it's allowed us to have a team trained in implementing a measure to assess the student's social and emotional health. The goal is to provide every student with the supports that they need in order to feel safe, confident, and ready to learn within the Monroe Township School District. So why is this important? It's important because by identifying students, we can pair them with appropriate interventions, which would reduce anxiety, reduce unwanted behaviors, and improve attendance. Interventions provide students with the skills necessary to cope with social abilities, emotion regulation, and to reduce stress and anxiety, as mentioned before. The students, again, deserve to feel safe and valued in the schools, and need to understand that the school is here to support them in anything that they need. So last year, we were afforded the opportunity to run a pilot study where we chose one team from each of the 3 grade levels. And we gave them what was called the Strength and Difficulties Questionnaire, which is commonly referred to as the SDQ. Approximately 35% of the students who we asked to take this survey took that given survey. So over 11 students out of 317 that were targeted. The students who took the survey, 5.4% were identified as either needing tier 2 or tier 3 interventions. Some interventions, when we noticed that we offered to the students, were these check-in, check-outs, where counselors would meet with the students briefly in the morning, kind of talk about their day, create very small goals for them to set throughout the day, and then check back in with them at the end of the day before they left to go home to kind of reflect on the goals that they had talked about in the morning. We have a slew of counseling groups. We have boys groups, girls groups, mindfulness groups, and lunch bunch for students who kind of, it's just the social aspect. Counselors pull kids for lunch to kind of talk to one another, shared interests, hobbies, and share outlets. Also offering individual counseling, constant parent contact and communication about their students, about their children and how they're performing in school, whether it's academic and or behavioral, and also referral to any outside counseling services or community programs. For example, BOE, I know is one that we can refer to, and that's really for the tier 3 students. So moving forward with this, for this year, what the plan would be was to give the SDQ to all students in 6th grade with parental consent. And they'll take the Strengths and Difficulties Questionnaire. And this will give us a baseline data of all 6th grade students. And over the next 3 years, we can build upon that data and have a total comprehensive idea of any behavioral, social, emotional issues that come up with these flagged or tiered students. And this will guide us in the decision-making process to provide appropriate interventions, if any, are necessary for each particular student. And the SDQ can also be given multiple times, even to the same student, to show growth. And just have that data to guide our decisions moving forward. So the process in terms of providing the SDQ to the students, to students, would first we send a letter home to the parents explaining the screening process and ask for parental consent, as we do with any other type of surveys. In addition to the parental consent, the student also has to give their assent to take the survey. So you need 2 layers. You need the parents to say yes, and you need the students to say yes as well. Once you have both of those, we can administer the screener. The results of the screener are analyzed, and we determine who has been flagged, which we can go through in just a minute on this flow chart. The counselors and case managers will determine which tier the students, if any tier, would be an appropriate placement using the risk inventory rubric, which is also in the packet. And if they are in need of any interventions, they're paired with those. Parents of students who have been identified as tier 1 will have a letter sent home explaining the results, that they're within the normal limits and that there's no necessary interventions at this time. And any student who is flagged as tier 2 or 3, the counselors or case managers would actually call the parents and have a conversation with them, and explain exactly what the total scores were or the sub scores of the SDQ. So the next slide is the flow chart about how to go about it. To take the SDQ, we look at 2 scales, in particular, the total scale, the total difficulty scale. And if that's high or very high, or if one of the subscales called emotional subscales, high or very high, then we complete the the behavioral risk inventory sheet, which looks at a bunch of different data points, and we can determine which tier based on the number of points that the students kind of rack up, so to speak. Some of those things are attendance, grades in math and ELA, performance overall, conduct records, turnstile check-ins, see how often they go to the bathroom, how often they go to the nurse, and any other prior interventions that they may have. And I do want to add that this inventory chart actually mirrors what our academic MTSS chart looks like. So it's very simple for somebody to kind of do both. And we may have some crossover between the academic side and the behavioral side as well. Also in the packet, there's a tier 1 sample letter that was sent home to parents of students who are not flagged. And we also have a tier 1 letter for students who are flagged, but then after determining the academic inventory, the behavioral risk inventory, determined that they are tier 1 and don't need any interventions as well. So that's pretty much the overview in a nutshell, very quickly. And does anybody have any questions about this?
I have a question. Regarding special ed children, some of them have dual diagnoses, and where do they fall on your chart for counseling they need?
So if counseling, you mean if counseling's in like their IEP, for example?
Right, and if they need something extra regarding this.
Yeah, so if students have counseling in their IEP and they do flag on this, and counseling is one of those interventions that would be appropriate for them, we would contact the student's counselor or school psychologist and let them know of these things. We do have, I guess Dr. Higgins said, we have a large team that's comprised of CST members, teachers, counselors, and administrators on this.
Okay.
So it's a very comprehensive, collaborative style group that we can communicate back and forth.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Lurie, when we did this last year as a pilot, if I understood correctly, there was 1 team from every grade, so 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Correct.
And there were 5.4% students of those that tested that qualified for tier 2 or 3.
Correct.
Do you know what is that? Which grade was a higher percentage? And the reason I'm asking is because your plan now is focusing on all of 6th grade,
Right.
no other grade.
Right.
Do we see a pattern with 6th
Um,
grade being more impacted?
So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we had pretty even number. I think maybe 8th grade had more than sixth and seventh, but there were multiple students in each of the grade levels that did as being higher.
Why are we picking for this year's plan? Why are we picking the entire sixth grade and not any other grade?
Correct. So the idea is if we give it to the sixth grade this year and we continue to give it to the sixth grade year after year, we can have a comprehensive accounting of all the students over the next 3 years. Whereas,
Track their progress.
Yeah,
over the next.
and that's not to say that we can't give the SDQ to specific students in other grades if we see that they're having some struggles. In fact, on the right-hand side of your packet, there's a teacher referral form. From the flow chart, if we get the teacher referral form, it's a possibility that we keep the SDQ, provided that we get parental and student consent to give it. And then again, we compare those interventions with the particular student to kind of alleviate any of the concerns that we see on the SDQ.
Yes, please go ahead.
Are the students following their tracked from sixth grade through eighth? Or it's just for the year?
It's not necessarily tracking, so to speak. It's to give us an idea. So for the academic side, it's easier to see because they're doing tests, they're doing quizzes, their performance is readily available. When students have behavioral or emotional or social problems, it's not always readily apparent. And sometimes even with the SDQ, they don't flag. But I feel like we can catch more people by taking these, giving them the SDQ so we can reach them early on and help them with these interventions and to help, coping skills and anything that they may need with the stress, anxiety, peer problems, things like that.
Yeah, so my concern is because sometimes kids, they're going through puberty. So sometimes in seventh grade tends to be like a hard grade overall.
It sure is.
And then in eighth grade, start to see some of those more risk-taking behaviors. So I was just asking that question because in sixth grade, they're still kind of, making that little transition, and we've not seen so much of these stressors as we are in the upper middle school grades. So I wanted to know if we were also monitoring the older students.
Well, we monitor through like our counselors. Our counselors know who the students are who are habitual risk takers, for lack of a better term. And we do keep an eye on them as well. And these are kids that are probably already in some of these groups. So it's not necessarily that we don't offer these groups to students who don't take the SDQ. It's just easier to identify maybe the sixth grade students who flag for it to pair them with these types of groups.
So we do have monthly co-curricular meetings that involve counselors, case managers, administrations. Excuse me?
Teams.
Yeah, to identify at-risk students who maybe are having whether academic, social, emotional trouble. There's another tool now we can put in that toolbox that if we identify them at the core kids meeting to use to kind of monitor their progress and identify what needs they might have. So
That was going to be my question, that the year before the pilot, last year was the pilot. We didn't have anything like an SDQ. So we were just watching the behaviors of kids, and when trouble arose, we were intervening. Like, this was just trying to,
You mean before this, right? Is that-
before this, what's going on in middle school before this?
So we would have our core kids meeting again. That was to identify the higher risk students. It could be for various reasons, and then we would come up with action plans, month to month, and then every month would be a check-in. How's Johnny doing? We identified this last month. How's he doing this month?
You can almost see this as being more of a proactive
Yeah.
piece too, whereas other means of, student gets in trouble or student has some challenges in class, or, you hear from, people, it could even be from a parent. Then you're reacting. This is something that you're being more proactive and finding that, those students before. It's the same thing that's going on in the academic side with,
I absolutely love
like
the
the math
idea.
testing and things like that.
Staying ahead of.
And this model or this questionnaire actually goes until age 17. So we can see after this year to see how it goes and then see if there's other levels of potentially, because who knows, we could do this at other grades.
Right,
Other
it
times.
reminds me of the questionnaire that my children have to go when we go for an annual pediatric visit, right? So at a certain age, they start asking these kind of questions. Children have to answer themselves, parents cannot be looking at their answers. I think this is the great preventive tool, and like you said, a good tool to have in our SNS tool back in the box. So I think it's a great idea that we did the pilot last year, the financial questions. Does this cost us something?
Does it cost us anything?
It's grant funded.
Grant funded.
So it's grant funded by Rutgers. They have given us the questions. They've given us the grading of it. The next step, it's already a Google form. Google doesn't really score it the way that we need to score it. So I think we're gonna try and explore trying to give it through Linkit, but that's a conversation we can have another time. But it could be given, basically, we can give it through Linkit. I'm wondering if we can score it through Linkit like that as well.
Yeah, and for context, so we talk about MTSS as our district, kind of umbrella, in terms of supporting and monitoring student progress. We have the math interventions, the ELA interventions, we talked about decision trees, and the area of focus for last year was to build out the foundation for a behavioral piece, because as we know, we do a lot of assessments on the academic side, everything from formative and summative assessments, homeworks, state tests, or math testing. But having these tangible, behavior-centric data points is an area that we always are looking for something. And you can connect attendance, right? Is it a school avoidance piece? Is it connect, there are other data points we have, but this is a nice piece that would give us, information. Right now, it's about grade 6. And another reason to think about, a nice slow rollout, but a targeted rollout is, we also want to build the supports around a manageable number of students that need support. So if we start with 1 grade and then move to 7th and 8th, and we have the continual supports, we did them the entire school this year. We have the staff to properly support that. We would build that out as it grows. And again, we can take a look at the high school, maybe it's a 6th grade and a 9th grade screener by default, but you have that teacher referral piece that could be done at any grade level, right? Based on student needs. So MTSS, as it has been growing, it will continue to evolve with our student body and with the tools that that become available. But this is, certainly a tremendous opportunity for us to kind of connect on the behavioral side at the middle school specifically. And it's important to note that there's a parental consent piece with this and a student consent piece with this. And this questionnaire would be available for any parent that wants to see it as a preview, just to say, hey, before I sign off on this, I want to see it. Absolutely, this is, there's nothing that we're trying to do other than, get good information and support the children. So. Yep.
Anybody else have any questions on this? This is wonderful. Good luck. I know you see a lot of success with it this year when you do it throughout the year.
Thank you.
And continue on.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the next
Thank you.
item on the agenda, and feel free to leave, gentlemen. We have person documents on the agenda. I'm going to start with Ms. Trust, the Holocaust and Genocide document.
Good evening, everyone. This document was in need of updating, just as it was a little bit of an older document. And we do offer this course as dual enrollment with Kane University. So students are eligible to receive credit through Kane, provided they meet all the requirements for that. So this is our 2nd year of that partnership. We did have students that did receive credit last year. So this course really is trying to focus on prejudice reduction, the Holocaust itself, the history of the Holocaust. How could this happen? The looking at a first unit is looking at human behavior. What are some of the things that we might not even realize that we as human beings innately have. Then it moves into prejudice reduction, looking at the history of anti-Semitism, of course, Hitler's rise to power, eugenics, the idea of eugenics, where that stemmed from. It also looks at things like what life was like in the ghetto during the Holocaust, the final solution, resistance, and how did groups resist, liberation and aftermath. And then the really final unit is focusing on genocides that have occurred, not only the Holocaust, but in the past, looking at, for example, the Rwandan genocide, and even some other genocides that might not be as well known to students. This is definitely, I always give this disclaimer, this is definitely a course for a mature student who is ready to handle this kind of coursework, not necessarily because of difficulty, but because of the discussions that you're going to be having about this kind of content. It can be a little bit challenging for some students if it's a depressing topic. I don't know how else to say it. But it's a really, really well-run course. The students do great with it. There's a lot of opportunity for students to interact not only with each other, but also do a lot of self-reflection, and really learn a lot more about the outside world beyond just the history of it. So, the teacher who teaches at Ms. Schwartz did an excellent job. There's not as many written tests, it's more project-based. So students are really getting an opportunity to explore these different topics.
I've been here 4 years and I keep learning more and more. It's just amazing. Is there a prerequisite, and what is the youngest grade level that our counselors let the students take this course in?
I believe, I have to check the program of studies. I believe we say 11th and 12th graders, but I would have to check. I know freshmen, it just doesn't even really fit into their
And
schedule.
no prerequisite?
No, not really.
Does this count towards the social studies?
It would be an elective credit,
It'll be an elective.
an elective credit. So, because our graduation requirements are a world history and then
Okay.
2 US histories from the state. So this would be an elective. Again, though, there is the option that the students can get credit from Kane for completing this course here with us. So they get 3 credits. And we can't always guarantee, that's always our we can't always guarantee that whatever institution the child is going to will automatically take it. But a lot of students do find that when they go to college, they are given this as a general.
You had
No,
something?
it is 11th and 12th.
Thank
I
you.
just- yeah.
Okay, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. Anybody else, any questions on this course? All right, seeing none, Ms. Russ, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Schneider, you're up next.
Hey,
You have
I
two
have
photos.
two documents, and if you don't mind passing
A
them
lot of
down
nice
to the,
colorful folders coming our way.
I like colors, what can I say? I'll wait for
Love a new folder.
that. Yeah, perfect. Good evening, everyone. So I have 2 documents to present this evening. The first is a brand-new course at Monroe Township High School called Honors Piano. This is something that we're very proud of because our piano program has really almost exploded over the past couple of years. And we've been able to offer 3 levels of piano, piano 1, piano 2, piano 3. Now, in looking at the structure of our music program, our wind ensemble is honors credit, our choirs are honors credit, our treble choir and our concert choir are both honors weighted, and we've had an honors percussion ensemble for about 5 years now. So to make this even for the piano players that are in the district that aren't necessarily in a large performing ensemble, we had the structure in place now to replace Piano 3 with this course, which we are calling Honors Piano. This course is open to students that have a minimum of 3 years of piano study or in their 3rd year. It is prerequisite would be Piano 2 or an audition and teacher recommendation. So it can open the gamut that if a student has been playing piano on their own for years, taking lessons, studying outside, they would be able to skip over our first couple levels of piano instruction and audition successfully into this course. This course focuses on very advanced piano literature at the highest level, because they will be receiving honors credit for this this course. I think I said it last month when I presented piano too. The goal of our piano program at Monroe Township High School is not necessarily to find the next Liberace per se, but to give students a lifelong skill in learning piano. This course, however, will push the technical demands of what's required for a high school student, as it is the honors weighted, as I say. They will be developing advanced technical skills in preparation to apply for their music. The class will have more of music theory is going to be heavily studied in this class, more so than the other levels. And students are going to get to perform a variety of repertoire ranging from classical to jazz in this course. It's going to provide students opportunities for inside school performances as well as outside and even in the community. But we're requiring 2 solo piano recitals a year just for the students that are in this course. The course is driven by the New Jersey 2020 Visual Performing Arts Standards and the 2017 Social Emotional Standards. And our highlights are, like I said, music theory, advanced repertoire and technique, all their scales, major and minor, practice process. And really this course teaches the students not only that they need to practice, but because of the level of literature, it really dives into how to practice and how to practice correctly. So they're gaining the most out of their practice sessions, and then advanced musicality and expression. But brand new course, we just launched it last week, the first run of it.
I think we just took it up to the next level. So
Yeah.
when I first heard about the piano elective, what I noticed was it was an easy elective for kids that had never done music, but wanted to like play around with it. So, and a lot of kids enjoyed that elective, piano 1, piano 2. But this kind of addresses that demographic of kids that grew up taking piano
Correct.
lessons, don't necessarily play in our band
Yeah.
because we don't, except for the jazz band, you don't really need the
Correct.
piano. They're going to get honors credit now. So,
Correct.
you know, and they can get into it freshman year just by auditioning is what I understand.
So this year, it was 10 through 12. We opened it up 10 through 12.
Okay.
Next year, given the success that we had the numbers,
So
we're
they-
going to open it up to ninth grade as well. It's going to be rare for a ninth grader to,
Take it into, it's giving them honors credit for something that they've put in work throughout their life.
Correct.
And it's probably going to come easy to them. So
correct. So next year, the
it's a
plan,
great opportunity.
so the plan next year is to make this, if a freshman does want to audition and come in, we're going to, now that we know we have the class there. To your point, the one last thing I'll say about this is the piano players, which I'm really excited about, they're on an equal playing field now with the rest of our musicians in terms of to be in Tri-M, which is our Music Honor Society here at the high school. They had to be in an honors level class, whether that's honors concert choir, honors wind ensemble, honors percussion ensemble.
No.
In the past couple of years since I've been in this role, I had a couple of piano players saying, I'm not in one of those ensembles, but I'm an exceptional piano player. This now gives the opportunity for them to be in Tri-M, the Music Honor Society, and to perform at the Tri-M recital in addition to the required 2 recitals there. So I'm very happy, and now all of our music program, or our,
Yeah.
choir, band, percussion, piano, they're all on the same playing level.
All
So
that is left is string instrument, just saying.
I'm ready to go, so.
But this is great. At least we've given our,
Yeah.
so many outstanding piano players in the district that I
Absolutely.
know of. This is going to give them an even playing ground and an opportunity at Tri-M. So thank you. I'm very happy about this. Anybody have any questions on this? You can-
Okay. Our next course, and my final curriculum document for the year, actually, this is gonna be, I know I did a lot last month, but this is my final one, is our rhythmic movement course, which is open to students 10 through 12 at Monroe Township High School, which they may take as their phys ed requirement for the school year. Rhythmic movement is for students who have an interest in activities that vary, such as dance, yoga, personal fitness, and that is more of an interest to them more than the activities that are done in general phys ed at the high school. The hopes of the outcomes of this class are that students will gain lifelong skills and activities that they can really enjoy and participate in through their life. And students will they're gonna be able to go into, as adults and as graduates, go into any dance or fitness class, and have the correct knowledge, know the etiquette, and really be able to walk in and know the structure and the procedures and the proper practices there. So, this course is open to, like I said, students 10 through 12, and is driven by the 2020 Comprehensive Physical Education and Health Standards and the 2017 Social Emotional Learning Standards. Some of the highlights of the document are, they're going to learn styles of dance such as ballet and jazz, and the correct styles, postures, and how to even choreograph for both in that. They're going to learn yoga, which I'm going to make sure I attend one of those, something I always wanted to do. And the correct poses, etiquette, proper breathing, and have peer-to-peer feedback. And then move on to contemporary and hip hop styles and learn proper terminology and grooves in the more contemporary style. They're going to learn, another unit is Pilates, and they learn the 6 principles of Pilates: concentration, control, centering, flow, precision, and breath. And they do cumulative dance challenges where one person will begin a dance and the choreograph, then the next person in the class will perform what the prior student did and add their own to it. And then it's a lot of teamwork and the kids have a great time doing that. So I want to give kudos to Stephanie D'Angelo, our teacher. She does a fantastic job with this course and really prepares these students for some lifelong skills, which are great.
It sounds like a really fun class. Does this help meet the graduation requirements, performing arts or whatever that?
For phys ed.
Oh, for phys ed, not for arts, for phys ed. For phys ed, yeah,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
So there's a requirement for some sort of an art.
Correct.
Performing art. That this wouldn't.
This would not for the art, this would be, this is for phys ed. The piano course I just mentioned, that would be art. All of our studio art classes, our ceramics and sculpture classes would meet that, our pop music history. This is considered physical education and health, but there are a lot of carryovers, but this is, interestingly enough, this is the phys ed class. So they have this for 3 semesters, and then depending on what grade they're in, they'll have health 1 semester.
They'll have anybody else, any questions on this class? Excellent. Thank you so much, Mrs. Myra.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, Dr. Roselle, you're up for 2 really interesting topics today.
Yes, so the first document I'm going to present is a new course at the high school titled ESL Math Foundations. Every year I am reviewing the student data, the testing data for our multilingual learners, and this course was developed to address an increasing population of SLIFE students. SLIFE stands for Students with Limited or Interrupted Formal Education. So we may have a student who comes to us and for whatever reason may not have been in school for a couple years, or may come from a region of the world where their education would be, there's a teacher there when they get to school, that's great, but they may go a period of time without a teacher. And that results in weaker foundational skills. So a student who may not have been in school, let's say since 5th grade, is not adequately equipped to take a grade level math course, such as Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. So we have targeted students. These are SLIFE students or newcomers who we have assessed are lacking foundational math skills. Students are provided elective credit for this course. It does not count toward their math sequence. And the curriculum provides pre-algebra, early algebra, and in some cases, even more remedial skills. Using the 8th grade math curriculum as a guide, Mrs. Gasco has been instrumental in providing guidance and resources in this as well. We have also procured Sava's Success Maker Foundations of High School Math, which is a intervention program that provides baseline data. So students take a diagnostic and put them on an individualized learning path And the resources in this are translated into over 100 languages. There are many programs where there will be a Spanish translation, but not necessarily other languages. So that was a key element in selecting this particular tool. And it also allows the teacher to progress monitor students, and then to intervene and provide other instruction. This is taught by an ESL teacher who has a math background as well, and she is able to provide the language scaffolds because I'm sure to what some people may believe, math is very language rich. That tier 3 vocabulary can really impact students as well. So we're really excited to get this course off the ground and to really help students be successful when they get to their state mandated courses. Because we don't just want to get them through, we truly want them to learn and to be able to access the grade level standards when they get there.
Right, so this is our first year launching it.
Yep.
And what made us, how did you see the need for it? I know our ESL population has significantly grown over the years, but were we seeing the challenge where they were not meeting graduation requirements?
Not necessarily not meeting graduation requirements, but students in conversations with Mrs. Gasco, with the ESL teachers, with the math teachers, and students themselves, their class performance was not what it needed to be. So despite the language modifications that we were already able to provide, students just really didn't have the foundational skill background to be able to access some of the content because they had that limited or interrupted formal education in math. We were also able to use for our Spanish-speaking students our universal screener math growth. We were able to assess them in Spanish, and we would see those weaknesses for students even when tested in their first language. So that's really indicative of us needing to come in and build those skills. Whereas in other content areas, it doesn't build on each other the same way that math does. Language arts doesn't, social studies doesn't, but math, if we don't have those foundational skills, students will continue to struggle.
The interesting definition that you use, the limited or interrupted formal education. Do you see the most ramifications of that in math?
Yes.
Is that why we are?
Yep.
Okay.
We will also see that in students who do not have literacy in their primary language, because the greatest indicator of success in learning a second language is having strong literacy in your first language as well. So students who do not have a strong literacy in their first language will continue with some acquisition of English as well.
Yeah. And did we take this from another school or did we develop it from
We
scratch?
developed it from scratch.
Kudos to you. That's awesome.
It also aligned with the new program that we brought in, the Algebra and Geometry and Algebra 2 through the Savas program. They had this Pearson Success Maker. And so when we were getting presentations from them, we noticed that and we saw that. And that was something we were like, this could actually be something that would be a huge tool for these students.
Wow.
As opposed to those students taking Algebra 1 AB for the first time, regardless of what grade they come in, 9, 10, or 11, and getting a no grade because they're not understanding it and they're also not understanding the language. We can give them some math skills while they're learning it at the same time. And it's something that's becoming beneficial because when they start to master the language, if they don't have pre-algebra skills, it's going to be very, very difficult to get them through the Algebra 1 at the same time. So the idea is to make them feel success, to want to stay in school, to get to the point of graduating.
Excellent.
And we
Great
had other interventions in place as well, some push-in support for math classes with an ESL teacher pushing in. And our content area teachers are SIOP trained to be able to support students. We also have an after-school program. So we had tried less intensive interventions, but in conversations with ESL teachers, this really was necessary to put students on a path toward success in math.
Excellent. I'm so excited for everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, how many students are currently in the program?
Right now, we have 4 students in the class right now. So we have 4 students identified, and all of our new students, screening is part of what we do, and we're required to do our records review by state. So as we get new students throughout the year, students may be enrolled if we've identified them as slaves.
Any other questions? Well, I'm grateful to the work that has gone into this. Good luck. I hope you see a lot of
Yes.
success with this
I'm
program.
looking forward to it. My second document, complete 180 from the first is drama and acting one. This is a revised document. So curriculum revision to update to the visual and performing arts standards and the ELA standards as well. We also have a newer teacher teaching the course, so really allowing her to put her stamp on that as we update it as well. It is a performance-driven course, so students are performing every day. They are working collaboratively in small groups, in pairs, doing individual performances as well. There are 6 units that really build upon each other and increase in complexity. This is an entry-level course. So the first is an introduction to theater spaces and the ideas and the concepts of, the stage. It is not just acting. There are a lot of different ideas and practices that go into putting on a play. Theater as play. So using games to explore techniques. Students are engaging in different activities there. Improvisation, improv, core principles of acting, scene studies, and then the culminating unit is a showcase project. Students really get into what it means to act, how we read a script, how we interpret a script, how characters find motivation and draw on different sources of inspiration as well. This is a prerequisite to drama and acting 2, which was mapped over the summer and will be rewritten next year. Love it. What I love about this course is students are really building confidence. They're beginning to work, there is interpersonal team building, their organizational skills and their literacy skills as well. So reading, writing, speaking, and listening are still inherent in this course as well.
What grade levels have taken this? This is 1, so I'm assuming there is more.
This is 9 and 10, I believe, but I will confirm with the
So
program.
do we have
studies.
drama and acting 2?
We have drama and acting 2, which is running now as well. And that course was mapped this summer. It'll be fully rewritten for next summer.
Does that have performing arts credit for graduation requirement?
Yes,
Okay.
this is performing arts credit. This is not ELA credit.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, you presented 2 documents that both had no ELA credit, right? The other one would also have doesn't need selected credit.
No math.
No.
All right, thank you. I have the last 2 documents tonight. Ms. Gasco, all yours.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is Introduction to Computer Science, which is the new, more modern name for computer programming. So the course at one point hadn't changed really, but we've updated it in particular to match the new standards. The computer science standards changed in 2020 to be called Computer Science and Design Thinking. They are incorporated into every document there is, but this is obviously takes really a hit of the programming perspective of it. To give you an idea of the mission of the new standards is to have all students have equitable access to a rigorous computer science and design thinking education, which is why we need to have a course that is not such a high level that only the top students can take it, but one that students can take it to show an interest, because there's all different types of technology, computer science type fields that students could go into. We have updated this because computer science does change a lot. And it's been the last 2 years that we've been kind of working with it with the help of actually having the AP computer science principles to give a little bit of a foundation. That was due to the College Board. This aligns more closely to that, but at a less rigorous level. So it's more discrete. The program is going to be, much more basic going through, but it does give them a lot of the basics. It does cover the same concepts that it had in the past, and the concepts that were core to it were variables, data types, control structures. This might all be Greek to you. Functions, arrays, all the true concepts that were in the original one are in it. But the name itself, again, it just was a more modern name and we thought was more appropriate because it wasn't just programming. It's really about the understanding of computer science in general. The topics that are covered include hardware, software, number systems, logic systems, networking, the impact of computer just computer and computers and algorithms, which is also a very key component of the new standards they have, is just how it affects the real world and going through. The units are written differently. It's a little bit different of an order than beforehand, but again, it aligns now where if the students take this course, they won't be at a disadvantage of going into the AP Computer Science A, because they can take this, they have to have a very high grade in this, or take the AP Computer Science principles, and they both lead in. In the past, there was more of a disconnect because this course had been around longer. The programming language that they're now use is either C++ or Java. Again, keep in mind, the points of these two programs, the two beginning ones, are to prepare students for the AP Computer Science A, which is the one that is really the college level that the colleges are really truly looking for. So it does not have the extremely high rigor of the AP Computer Science principles, but we are supposed to have courses for everybody going through. It's had a very high level of success. Some students do move forward and move on with it, and other students take it as something that they think is interesting. Maybe aligns with things, and maybe they said, this is not what I want to do, for the rest of my life type of thing. But that's pretty much, does have all of the cross-curricular like it does. It's updated in terms of the format, having the vocabulary, the tier 2, the tier 3. But for the most part, it was more about changing the languages, aligning things. It may not have the exact same order as the computer science principles, but it does cover the same topic. So it's not meant to be AP computer science principles, but it is, we're updating it as time goes on.
This has how many sections this year?
So we have 2 sections of this year.
All grade levels, or are we not allowing freshmen?
So what we've done for I can only tell you what the program of study says for this particular current year.
Okay.
Just to kind of give you the big picture, the AP Computer Science principles, because these are the 2 that are the introductory course, was saying 10 through 11. And that was because we were trying to give the most advantage to the 11th grade students for the 10th. And honestly, there weren't enough spaces to give it to the 9th graders, so we didn't want there to be just a thought out there that you're going to get it when we know it's going to fill up automatically. The last couple of years, we've ran a lot of sections of that, so we've gotten caught up, which is kind of nice. We gave priority to juniors for that over seniors, because the intent of the AP Computer Science principle should be that you want to continue with the track for the next one. The computer programming, as it stands right now, doesn't say a grade level, so it could be 9 through 12. So again, I would have to talk to Dr. Higgins, but my guess would be the priority would be given to a senior that hasn't had computer science. But we don't have students that, I don't think anybody has not had it, or it might be a scheduling conflict of a couple. Very similar to the province stats that we talked about last month. We are running right now, I wrote it down because I had a feeling this question was going to come up. So we have 3 sections of computer science A, which is what we had, we have 3 sections of computer science A, and I think every one of the students that didn't have scheduling conflicts was able to get into it. I'd have to verify that with Dr. Higgins. I do have 2 sections of honors web design, which would be the after. We have 2 courses that we run every other year, and I have 2 classes of intro to computer science.
And how many of ComSci principles?
The ComSci principles would be, right, I was looking that up and I don't have.
The last one that you said was intro to this one, the one that we
computer science is this one.
Which one that we discussed today, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mentor teaches one and Miss Carey teaches the other.
Okay, and AP, you're looking at that right now? Okay.
Keep talking.
So my question would be, this, like you said, this is that get a feel of, computers and give the children the opportunity. A lot of times it's not just that. I think it's a great for kids that are just not technologically inclined to give them a test of the water just so that they're literate now, right? So you said 2 sections. My question would be, that's 4 sections of
4
AP.
sections of AP Computer Science principles.
And I know that we're running that through a whole different setup, so that allows us to
And
work.
that's open 9 to 12, and Ms. Gasco has 3 sections of AP Computer Science A.
Hey, okay, so.
Yes, 3 of the A and 2 of the intro to computer science.
Okay, so my question, and you don't need to answer right away, but I would like to hear back on it, is we're opening up to all grades, that's great. But how are we prioritizing? And 2, was there a limitation that we could only do 2 sections, or that was all the interest there was?
So my recollection of it is that there was the right numbers to select, so the right number of sections to have. because I have Miss Carrie who can teach it, and she has one. And so that, we also had some math classes that we needed to fill, but if I had had to, we could have run a 17%. So when we were looking at the numbers, it made the most sense to run these.
Okay.
Again, whenever you're doing scheduling,
And
there's
this
always
is something that we offered for a few years. We changed the name of the
So
course, right?
this course has always been offered. It was last year and this year, we changed the name to be Introduction to Computer Science, only because it was just a more modern and a more appropriate name for it.
Why
Because there's
did we
more
think
than
you're-
just programming that goes.
Why were you putting 2025 there?
So that has to do with the fact that Atlas right now, it was becoming confusing and parents were looking at Atlas of an old document versus a new document. And Mr. Silverman, when he set them up for me, because they carried over what was done in the past, so we could then see what was there, make adjustments. That's how he labeled them. And once these are all done and finished during the year, I'm gonna go through and wipe out the old ones and copy the new ones. It was more of,
Housekeeping piece
Okay.
for us.
right, so that we got the correct document to you.
So it's Introduction to Computer Science, that's how we
It's,
were
the
talking about it.
2025 just shows
That's the
basically,
revision year.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, I'm sorry, just so I can just add.
Yes, sorry.
So
go ahead.
to your inquiry, we also added additional electives, relevant to computer science in addition to what Ms. Gasco's in this new curriculum. So this year we introduced 2 additional sections of cybersecurity,
Oh, yeah.
which again, it creates more opportunities for students to explore computer science, maybe not necessarily through the AP track. And I can't say this definitively, but my guess is that they're probably sharing the same style of students that are going into the programming class, maybe into the cybersecurity class, at least for now, because it would be the more accessible exploratory computer science classes. Or I don't like calling them computer science classes because everything computer science. But
The true groups of that.
they're the courses that are applying those computer science foundations through the lens of a variety of careers and potential courses of study beyond high school. And it's, and there's going to be an AP computer, cybersecurity course next year at the college.
There's gonna be a leak, no.
So we're looking at that currently to see how that fits with what we currently offer. So there's obviously, you can see what's happening out there. And we anticipate a graduation requirement.
Any questions, any other board members on the Introduction to Computer Science? Thank you, Ms. Gaspar, you can move on to the geometry.
And then the second one I have is honors geometry. If you remember last month, I did dynamics of geometry and the college prep geometry. Very similar format in terms of the setup. The big difference, again, there were new standards, the 2023 standards, so we made sure those were addressed in the course going through. And the difference between this class is one of the bigger questions and the regular college prep is not just more homework, which is something sometimes people think about, but it is a much more abstract and much more rigorous level. So the problems that they're going to be solving are going to have concepts from all of the past, more complicated algebra type applications that get immersed into it, and more of the true application, critical thinking type skills going through. This course, while there's not as much geometry in Algebra 2, when you start getting to the pre-calculus and when you get to the calculus, the applications will always go back to these type of problems. So while people have sometimes memories that aren't so fond of geometry back when they were back in school in the day and all they do remember is proofs, the idea of proofs is that you're really learning step-by-step procedures. And so whether you're doing it as a statement and reason, or whether you're doing it as just a thinking scenario going through the steps, it really truly is critical for the type of thinking they learn when they get to the high level honors pre-calculus and in the calculus, whether it goes to the college level or the regular level. But the core of the course, because they're standards driven and it's dictated by the state, is going to be fairly the same concepts. It's just going to dive in much deeper in a much more critical thinking type of a way. So I think this question was asked last month in terms of what the state expects. They have a requirement. You have to take a course in geometry. So we offer the different levels, as with the computer science, to meet the levels of different needs and different learners. So we don't want to be so discrete that we're not getting the practice to the students that really want to get to the super high levels and have that ability. So because it's just very step-by-step and spiraling, you can't do a unit out of isolation. So it's a program that really builds and builds and builds. I think one of the things that I've noticed is that we have a huge success of the AP classes, and part of it is well, I have amazing AP teachers, and I really do. It's the whole program that teaches students to think from such an early level, and it just builds every year going.
So we have kids taking this either in freshman year, if they're on a fast track, or.
So there are actually students that take geometry in 8th grade
Oh,
as well.
right.
Just by the philosophy of middle school, we don't call it honors, but it's taught very much at an honors level, because it is that, it's called
they
grade 8, grade 8.
Right
geometry.
over. when
They
come to
would
high school.
start here, they would, the
Yeah.
state says you have to take it, it doesn't say it has to be a graduation requirement of the 3 courses they take.
Okay. so
Math is a little different than the others. You have to take, at a minimum, an Algebra 1 course, a Geometry course, and an Algebra 2 course.
Yeah.
You then have to take, at a minimum, depending on where you start in 9th grade, 3 traditional years.
Okay.
So, again, sometimes it's a misunderstanding, from the public that they think, oh, those 2 courses I took count from middle school. They don't, they just advance you, but hopefully you're of that level, and you should be, and we want to advance you as far as we possibly can. And it's all proven to be very successful going forward. So geometry can start in 9th grade, it can start in 10th grade, it can start, no, wait, I'm sorry, it can start in 8th grade, 9th grade, or 10th grade.
Are our computer courses still counting as a third year of math?
So the way the state works, the only course that's allowed to count as a traditional math class is AP Computer Science A.
Okay.
That's dictated by the state as long as it is taught by a math teacher. And that one is taught by a math teacher
Yes.
in our district. So that is one of the reasons for keeping
So
the
far,
student in
yes.
that program, and he loves teaching it. It can only be 1 course though. I will say, from what I see of students and students' things, I don't think any students use that as a 3rd year of math and say, I don't want to go farther. You know, the idea is we have students that are knocking down the walls and take math classes that they're probably not even quite ready for. They love math, I think it's amazing. And usually the computer science is just an additional course that they're taking. I don't really see them replacing. It could though, by state
By state law, we do.
but only the computer science A, and it's very particular. You have to have a math teacher. So, but we do, so we're good with that.
Anybody any questions on honors
I
geometry?
don't have a question, I have a comment.
Sure.
It was wonderful what you just said. I wish I had that, or I'd like to go back to when I went to school and had the way you taught or teaching the children, because we were just thrown into it. I was at a luncheon today with 8 other class members discussing I'm not going to tell you the year reunion that's coming up September 24th. And every one of us, when we talked about nuns, and I went to St. Peter's in New Brunswick, the biggest thing was, didn't you hate geometry? And algebra I like, but I just could not go the way you're saying it. Possibly I could have understood geometry the way they're teaching it now. It was just, here it is. Here's this triangle and whatever that theorem is. I'm sorry.
Of course.
I can't even say it. And yeah, and you know why my favorite subject was English, but I was like, oh my God. And what you just said and what all you ladies said was like, I want to go back because I want to learn it the right way. You know, it was just rote and thrown at us, and it's been a while. I don't think I would remember if you taught me right now, and if I want to. But I just want to congratulate you and what you're giving to our students in this district. It's phenomenal.
Thank you. The next, anybody else? All right, so we can move on to the next item on the agenda. Mr. Barandika, you're up for the athletics update.
Yeah, so I have 2 things I wanted to update you. First, a little quick update on fall sports. They are in full swing. You heard our announcer, the Giants announcer, announcing the soccer game a couple minutes ago. We have 12 sport programs, which represent 27 levels of teams, ranging from middle school to freshman, JV, and varsity. That includes soccer, cross-country, girls tennis, girls volleyball, football, field hockey, dance, sideline cheer, unified soccer, and gymnastics. So we're pretty busy. We're looking forward to a successful season and hope to update all of you at a later board meeting on all the student athlete team and corporate achievements. We also have a couple upcoming events that I wanted to share. We have homecoming and our pep rally next Friday. We do have a car show fundraiser in conjunction with NPHS Booster Club. And we also look forward to college signing day, which will be in November, later on in November. Outside of that recap, I did want to also bring in a document for approval. It is our emergency action plan. It is the same document that we approved last year. Best practices in sports medicine does recommend that we check these on a year-to-year basis. I have reviewed it, our athletic trainers, Director of Security, as well as Dr. Lehman have reviewed it. Again, no, we're not recommending any changes from last year, but we did want to put it back for approval. Just a quick recap. It really outlines how to respond to injuries, be it medical or inclement weather emergencies during any kind of practices or games. It identifies roles and responsibilities for coaches, staff, and anyone who's responding to any injury. Includes communication methods, who calls 911, who speaks to the parents, and things of that nature. Location of emergency equipment such as AEDs or supplemental oxygen, and really just provides clear directions as well. If any coaches are helping out with bringing in an ambulance onto any of the sites that we have on campus. And really it ensures a quick, organized, and effective action to protect not only our athletes, but also coaches and spectators.
So, Mr. Baranica, I'm very happy to see it back again within the year, and you mentioned no changes, that's great. My only question is this part of the docket for training any new staff members, any security personnel? And are our coaches being mandated to review it once a year as well?
Yeah, so once approved, I will share with all of our coaches so that they get eyes on it. I do discuss the emergency action plan as part of my coaches meetings, and I let them know that the document is there, make sure that they review it. And our athletic trainers are also pretty hands-on with making sure that things are followed. Last year, we used our what do you call it? Lightning device that we have. It did ask. Yeah, so we did use it last year, so it was a great opportunity for us to also chime in and collaborate with our security officers as well to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I think all in all, it's definitely something great for us to have, and it definitely promotes safety.
A lot of improvement on that, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Any questions from the board members on the emergency action plan for athletics? Well, we wish you a lot of good luck for the fall sports season. May we continue the great work that MTHS has been doing in the last few seasons. Good luck.
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear the good updates from.
Yes.
And especially good luck tonight.
Yes, the boys are out there playing, so.
Yes.
Who are they playing tonight?
Old
Old
Bridge?
Yeah, boys soccer is playing over. The JV just tied. I'm hoping Varsity wins by a lot.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Baranica. We're going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is Special Education Medicaid Initiative update. Ms. Ruella, you're going to take it over.
Okay, thank you and good evening. All right, just to review what the Special Education Medicaid Initiative is. It's a New Jersey program which allows the district to receive federal reimbursement for Medicaid eligible services for students with disabilities. And I'm just going to review what those services are. They are in the student's IEP, it's speech, occupational and physical therapy, psychological and social worker services, nursing, and transportation that's related to medical services. So those are the areas that we look at to input that information. And we begin with an e-blast, that's the first day of school. So parents will be getting notice about what this initiative is and Medicaid. Then we look to receive a consent form from the parent, which is required. All right, so, and we go through the process that we are quarterly looked at what percentage we meet. And we do meet 100% usually on the parent, piece there. And then as the child study team goes through these services, that information is sent to my office and it's inputted. And the child study team also inputs the services, depending on transportation or nursing. And all of that information is then received to a consulting group, which manages semi for the state, for New Jersey. So with all of this, we do receive a benchmark of reimbursement, and we do fairly well. But coming now within the 24-25 school year, the reimbursement is going to be less. ESY is no longer considered reimbursable. So we lose the service there.
This school year? Okay.
Right. And what we will be getting services for begins August 19th through June 30th. So they're looking at ESY in that time frame from July to August 18th. So we leave services there. Before we were receiving, if the child study team does an evaluation, plan meeting, an annual review, we're no longer going to receive reimbursement for those services. All right. The rates are going to be changing, and the rates are looked at federally, they take 50% of it. The state takes 26%, and we get 17% of whatever that reimbursement is. Now, those are the rates that we were using at this time. They're looking at the change there. So we'll find out more information, because any of the documents that we receive quarterly are from the year before. So we're starting anew now as we go into September. Also, the system's going to change. So by that, the information that all our districts receive in New Jersey is that, don't be concerned, but your yearly reimbursement will be significantly lower, and to expect that. And they're going to further give us
We
information.
started with don't be concerned.
Yeah, don't be concerned. But, and also, I think with that concern is if you don't meet what these benchmarks are, then you go into an action plan. All of our related service providers have licenses, so we check that yearly to make sure they're updated, and that's also sent to the state. Our social workers and psychologists are certified, so we also have to make sure on all of those pieces. So you're looking at that, you're looking at, okay, why might you lose some of the amount? And it could be professional development, it's inputting the information. During COVID, everyone lost a lot during that time frame. So at this point, we're just looking at these updates. So we do know our reimbursement is going to be less this year as we go through the process.
So this update came before August?
Mhm.
Okay, so starting August, this is impacting us.
Right.
We don't know how much we're gonna lose. We've been given a baseline of what are the requirements that we need to meet. And if we
Right.
meet them all, then we're not gonna lose it?
Yeah, and just for a point of clarification, this is something that we include in our budgeting process. We include previous years a larger amount than we included this year. So we have accounted for in this school year already a significantly less or a lower number of reimbursement. So we were prepared, and we're not looking at covering any costs that we weren't expecting to cover. So whatever we get, we're expecting to get, and expecting to get less. So
Right.
we're not expecting 100,000, we're gonna get 10,000. We have accounted for a significantly less reimbursement in our budget already.
Yeah, because
So there's no
our
worries.
office,
Yeah.
PPS does work with Ms. Laura Allen, who
Yep.
also obviously inputs that information, so that's how it works with our budget.
We
that
really need to be
notification.
concerned because we budgeted right for.
Right,
We budgeted correctly for this year. Now, we would love to be pleasantly surprised when the actual reimbursement comes in and that it's higher than what we budgeted for. But we have conservatively accounted for a significantly less reimbursement in last year's budgeting process. So we're prepared for the reduction in reimbursement.
So for anything that we get reimbursement, Ms. Suella, are we gonna be changing any processes as a result of these changes?
no, because they're based on the services that the students get. So one thing SEMI does look at, that the lower income families that receive Medicaid still receive the services within their IEPs. And that's explained to the parents too. If you're on Medicaid and you signed a consent, don't fear that you're going to lose from your Medicaid. This is something that is the SEMI, it's a special ed initiative. So they still receive speech, OT, PT, nursing services, all of that's in the IEP. That would not
From a
change.
student perspective,
No.
we're continuing to provide the services we were providing
Absolutely.
before this update.
Okay.
Any questions, anybody?
No, I'm just glad that you anticipated it and then planned
Yep,
for it.
That's great.
Yep.
Because it has been a big change.
Yeah, and if we didn't account for it, we would certainly be looking to fill that gap. But we have more than accounted for it from what we believe. And I actually would be pleasantly surprised if we get more than what we
We
budgeted.
may,
I wouldn't hope for it.
we may, it's the services, depending on the services for that year. So we did, I think
I think we're fine.
we may be okay.
Foresight from a budget perspective is allowing us to breathe easy right
Yes,
now.
correct.
But what is important is that our services to our students is not going to get impacted in any which way, and for that, we're very thankful for everybody's foresight. Mr. Monroe, you don't have anything on the agenda today, and look at the time. We literally have 25 more minutes. Like, you just gotta do something with you, because I'm always short of time.
I thought you'd be a little interested in that last,
I am very interested, but I have 25 whole minutes, and I didn't know you were contributing to it. I'm gonna be looking.
I'm not saying that I am, Take the chance of us not getting it.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that.
But feel
Really,
free,
I do.
Happy-
So the last item on our agenda, which we're very excited to start talking about, full day kindergarten, that has been on everybody's mind. And from a curriculum perspective, we wanted to start this discussion to see what is it and where do we stand and what is it going to need to study curriculum wise?
Yep.
Just from that aspect. So Dr. Lehman, all yours.
Yep, so what we did, starting last year, specifically in the late winter and spring, is we started to prepare on a staff development side, to put a structure in place for our teachers to begin, regardless of the timeline of the rollout, begin to prepare, for a full day program. And our staff developers work with the supervisors, the building principals, and we have a year-long, PLC that the kindergarten teachers will be working on. So any staff development day that's district-wide over the course of the entire year, the kindergarten teachers will be working together. Oftentimes it'll be school-based groups, special ed, gen ed, when appropriate, the classroom paras would be involved. And they'll have an opportunity to dig into our curriculum. They'll have an opportunity to dabble potentially in some of the logistics of what a full day schedule may look like, built perspective. Anything that it would take to begin to transition what their half-day program is into a full-day program. So those are built-in days that we often have staff choose to do what they want to do. And all of our kindergarten teachers are super excited about this potential opportunity. And we're thrilled with the opportunity because I went around in the spring and met with all the teachers, all the building principals, and got some feedback about, what's your vision for full-day K? What does it look like? What supports would you need? What's the ideal structure that you would envision? And one of the common themes was, we need some time to really figure out what it's going to take for us to look at our half-day program and how to expand that into a full-day program. We're happy to report from a curriculum lens, our core content areas, math, language arts, science, social studies, those documents would not need to change. They are year-long documents, are covering the appropriate standards. What we would have the opportunity to do is spend more time in each of those content areas. And yet, granted, adding a full day piece to a kindergarten schedule, there's gonna be a lunch piece, there's a specials piece. But the transition time, walking in and out of the building, the additional time in the building will certainly allow us extra instructional time. And that'll be in the areas, all of the content areas. One thing that we have our kindergarten students exposed to now is the media center as a related arts. Well, they'll have an opportunity, just like the rest of our elementary students, to engage, and I pointed to Mr. Snyder, some of the related arts that they don't have an opportunity now, physical education, art class, music class. Those classes would need a document to be written. And that would be something we would do, just like we would do any school year, we would do it in the summer, in preparation for a rollout.
They don't go to gym, right?
They do not go to gym, no. Nope.
So is that music and art is the three things that we might be looking at writing new.
We would 100%, to transition to a full day program, we would absolutely write those three documents.
Okay.
And additionally, we would work with our related art staff to help them prepare for what it would be like to teach a kindergartner. Because unlike our kindergarten teachers, they're used to teaching in a full day, but they would need some preparation to help, a younger learner than they typically interact with, especially the early year kindergarten students. It's a totally different piece. So we did talk today at our supervisor meeting. So if any of the supervisors want to kind of chime in and say, maybe highlight what their programs look like.
Yeah.
We have all the tools we have in place, the documents we have in place, the books, the resources are in place. We just would need to work with our staff on stretching the day out a little bit. So
What I've been doing for the elementary level with art and music is every grade is having their own curriculum document written. So we would definitely need to start at scratch for those two and prepare and write a document like Dr. Layton said over the summer. And then phys ed, the same thing for there. So that's going to be 3 documents as he.
You just told us earlier this evening that you're done, so now we had it.
Summer.
Also, that, we won't start till
Wouldn't
like
be that.
next summer,
Yeah, we can-
okay, it'll be summertime, right, right.
The 12 have been last
You are
month,
done.
but no, no.
Summertime.
But we will work with the appropriate staff and then plan that next summer to be the final piece of that.
But just the fact that all the core subjects like language arts, math, our curriculum documents are good is a lot of headway.
They've all of the kindergarten teachers take part in our trainings. So when we bring in Lyman training or curricular training or Envisions training, any science and social studies, those kindergarten teachers are a part of those trainings because they are teaching that. It's just a shorter day. So they're prepared for it. It's the structure of those blocks now that's going to just change and be longer, which now allows them to bring in differentiation in small group. So those subjects, they can really tailor everything to all of the learners that are going to be in their rooms. So when I know Dr. Lehman spoke with them, they were actually excited. They didn't realize they get a lunch, they get a prep, and it's a whole different structure to their day. So they're excited, but it was almost unknown territory, right? So let's examine what that would look like for us. But everyone's done such a beautiful job with the academic core subjects.
So with the math, the perfect example is that while you're teaching the core concepts and they have the concepts down, there will be students that could embellish on that and they can go into much greater detail, or there's students that really might need some extra support going through. And instead of just moving forward like cookie cutter, this gives them the time. And there is nothing wrong with even doing spiraling activities and retention activities and all things that are just gonna benefit them going through. So the content itself is not gonna change. It's just the amount of practice, the amount of immersion, the amount of things that they can do math with the science class at the same time. There's so many opportunities there.
We're strengthening the foundation, especially
Yes.
with math and language arts, it's all about foundations, right? And we were rushing through that.
Elementary is amazing because since the teacher teaches all of the content, they can do a project that incorporates a little bit of everything. But if they were rushed and they were doing it in 2.5 hours, they may not be able to, they may have some great ideas and they might do something here or there. But there's just a lot they can do with that time that would really be incredibly beneficial for the learning of the student. And the more you immerse into real life scenarios, the statistics will show, the better retention they have. And so the retention is the key piece it's gonna go through, and then that's just gonna aid in the success of grade 1 and 2 and 3.
And it allows the kids to actually, not that it's not happening now, but they will be fully part of the building culture as well.
Yeah.
It won't be this transient feeling, but there's some intangible benefits, but there's gonna be tangible benefits as well. The stronger relationship, the children will guidance, CST, some of those latent benefits of the school day that maybe they're not necessarily getting, at least top of mind. But the impact on school culture and what that's gonna do and trickling down and, going into first grade and things like that is just, when they spoke about the teacher's excitement, I don't even know if we're ready, if we fully understand how it's going to benefit those buildings and even just organizational efficiencies. When you think about how we now have to work, my sister teaches kindergarten in a half-day setting, and she talks regularly about how everything can feel like it's kind of compartmentalized from the rest of the building. And that's
That's gonna change. 100%. Yeah, sure.
The new full-day kindergarten mandate, do they have a mandate on class size? Is there a piece or component to that?
I haven't seen anything, no.
So what is our typical kindergarten class size? Our
I
half-day program?
would say our target kindergarten class size would be probably somewhere in the high teens, nothing outrageous. I think as we look to roll this out, we will see what the reality would be, and then have a plan on getting to our ideal situation. And again, we all know our facilities is, has been our hamstring the entire time. And, if we're looking at high teens as an ideal landing zone, but we can get somewhere pretty close to that and have a plan in place to relieve ourselves, whether it's a few years down the road, I think that's a viable option with some supports, whether it's continued pair support that we may or may not, have in the long run or whatever it is. That, we will look at the reality now, we look at the ideal in the future, and pathway to get from here to short term and here to ideal. But yeah, I would say, you know, kindergarten is probably the most sensitive in terms of keeping, you know, a realistic class size.
And is it one teacher, one assistant?
Right.
Or we don't know.
Right now, we have a mix of paras and teachers together. Many cases, they're pretty, almost like a full day piece. You know, the vision for that is something that we can kind of parse through as we get into the reality of this. I would see some version of a hybrid of that, you know, support along throughout the day.
Yeah.
But again, we have to see what the numbers shake out, and I have numbers and things like that, but we have to see what the reality is to make it happen.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to know, any of our kindergarten teachers now, have they ever taught full day like in another district?
I don't know that offhand. I know a lot of our teachers
Like, they
started
must
their
be
careers.
like, wow, we're going back to something we did.
Somebody that I know all probably started here or been here over 25 years.
Well, they might not have, several of them live in other towns.
Right,
So it
yeah.
doesn't mean they haven't experienced it and they
Yes.
wouldn't see it. I can tell you from the conversations I've had over the last couple of years, they would be thrilled. This is not
That's
something
great.
they think is a negative, they think it is totally a positive.
They're
To
all.
the point where I've had, when you're doing new textbook adoptions, are we ever gonna have full day kindergarten? And so they want this. This is something they truly want. So
Did
they
anybody
see
ask
the
you that
advantage.
recently, and were you able to say, yeah, pretty soon?
I said, it's not as if we don't want it, because we do, and there were building constraints, so like, you know, over the years, we were very, very tight, so this is the perfect opportunity to do.
I think we can start to say, though we all want to be cautious and not overly optimistic, but we can at least start to see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
At this point.
I was gonna say, this is the first time, because a lot of times when we say, oh, we're working on it, we're like, yeah, sure you are. But this is the first time where there's a sense of, wait, this is really happening.
We're really trying to check off little boxes at a time. And I think from the lenses of this committee, my two concerns were, where do our curriculum documents stand and where does our staff training stand, like PD and staff development? And I feel very reassured in this conversation that we're in a good place. There's nothing that cannot be done in a short period of time. You're already working consensuously on the PD portion of it. So very reassured. I don't have any more questions or concerns
So
about
the
this.
curriculum document tells you the content that needs to be taught and suggested ways of how to teach it. It doesn't mean that that's the be all end all, that you can't go over and above that. So that's why the curriculum documents don't have to be rewritten. It doesn't mean when there's a time for a revision, we won't add some things that have been tried and true that work. But the content itself, which is the purpose of a document, is that we are covering all of the state standards. So we're covering all the state standards, we're giving them suggestions as to how to introduce that concept and how to go through, but they can then take it an extra mile.
Saying it as a layman who doesn't come from your world, we literally were meeting a compliance issue with, in an unfair amount of time as compared to our peers, right? So other people were meeting the same standard with a full day timeframe, and our students were just about meeting the standards.
The teachers did a phenomenal job.
They do.
They knew they were hot, but they did a phenomenal job.
They
I
came
have
in
no
and
doubt. I've got
actually
3 kids
trained.
that have gone through this as much as I wanted it to be full day.
No, they trained our teachers and acknowledged, even our Savas company wrote a document out saying, here's the curriculum, here's the scope, here's everything you have to teach, but we know you're a half day, so let's look at it this way. We've done bridge documents, which were beautiful documents, and now we have a new science program. So they've been trained along the way with everyone else, so that piece is just in place and ready to go.
In our ELA training this year, we're in our 3rd year of the My View Literacy Program. Year 1 was the reading portion, last year was the writing portion, this year is small group and how to individualize learning and personalize learning using all the resources. So it's really coming at the perfect time. How can they leverage the foundational skills kits? How can they leverage the guided reading tools? How can they leverage, reteaching tools and things like that as well? So I think that's coming at a perfect time for ELA.
Also, the new science textbook series, the kindergarten teachers all have it. So what's gonna be great is it will give them more time to be able to really expand with that. So it's a really good foundation for when they'll just have more time. So.
No, and 100%, our teachers are great. But they've been doing, like Gail said, they've been doing this for so long. There's probably going to be a factor of unlearning the way they were teaching something and learn a new way, which is what we were talking about, the PD and the,
Yeah.
talked about. We spent this year rewiring our brain that now I have more time. I'm going to be, like you said, they might have had great ideas in the past. Now they can start to plan for, actually executing those.
I think
great
it's
ideas.
easier to go from a half day to a full day than taking a
Oh,
teacher who is taught under a full day and saying, now you can only do it a half day.
Yes, yeah.
That's just my opinion, but I don't think it's going to be as difficult as if we said try to have. I was here in the time when we switched from a traditional high school schedule to the block schedule. And the difference between that and the kindergarten was that while they had double amount of time in a block, they had it every other day. So you're like, you have 90 days, you don't have 180 days. Here, the kindergarten teachers have 180 days. They just have more time and they can really enjoy what they're doing.
And that year-long PLC is great too, because now we circulate anyway, and we're in the buildings on those days, and we touch base with all the projects that are being done. So now we'll have the opportunity to sit down and really talk about how does this look? Where we're now going from 22-minute periods to 45-minute periods, and we'll be able to help.
So we have a structure in place through the content trainings to get information on the tools and content. And they have a structure in place through their PLC to apply that and really dig in deep. So, it's a nice balance between, the district focused content training and their personalized projects and expanding and applying that to their day.
Our job is to ask questions, and you guys always have answers, and for that, I'm very grateful and appreciative. This was a great update on something that is very, we are all looking forward to, so I think that's a great start to the discussion. We'll have plenty more of these. Can't believe that. We have 5 minutes left, and we're going to say we are at the end of the curriculum meeting. I'm breaking it, like, this is historical today. That is all for tonight's curriculum meeting. Good night, everyone. Thank you.